Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Set my alarm.
And we're live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Superhero Chat Live.
Another exciting adventure
That's right.
of the dynamic duo. Or the dynamicer duo,
That's
as
right.
Harley says.
Yeah, the dynamicer duo, which is dumb.
Agreed.
So, before we get into that, welcome. I want to thank you for tuning in. We're here to talk about Detective Comics, 1000 issue. You've been waiting, and here it is. If you missed it, we did a short live stream about Captain Marvel on Friday, I think it was. And so it was kind of a special thing since we usually just do everything on Monday nights. But, if you missed that, you can go back and watch it.
I'm telling you, the name change from Captain Marvel to Shazam is still tripping me up.
Yeah.
Because you said Captain Marvel. I'm like, we didn't do nothing about Captain Marvel on Friday. What are you talking about?
Oh, man.
But you were talking about the Marvel Captain Marvel.
Right. And your video is behind again. I don't know why it keeps doing that.
It could be the nearly 200 tabs that I have open on my computer.
That could be it. Hey, someone's watching. Welcome. But, anywho, so news and notables. Before we get to Detective Comics program, talk about what we've been reading, what we've been hearing. So, you got any this week?
Yeah, have you guys seen the new Aquaman 2 trailer teaser thing that just came out? It is so good. It's on YouTube. Just look Aquaman 2 official trailer. It's real short. It'll just whet your appetite for a movie to come out later. Anyway, yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, I loved it. I told Lewis right before we started, I was like, dude, you got to watch this.
I had heard about it, but I hadn't been around my computer to watch it, and my phone acts buggy sometimes with videos, so.
Yeah.
Well, I throttled the connection so that I'm not, burning through my data early in the month, because it just re-upped last week, and so I try not to eat it up too fast, but some things are worth it.
Yeah.
And I should have watched it earlier.
Well, hey, your video's caught up now, so that's good.
Good.
So.
Good.
But yeah, I thought it was a brilliant strategy, and you pointed out it was April Fool's. I never think about things being April Fool's jokes. I just take everything as is.
My kid's karate class got moved from one building to another tonight because the floors were wet in the other building. And when the girl told me that, I was like, okay. And then I was like, wait a second, are you playing a really cruel April Fool's joke? Because I saw them unloading the kicking pads earlier. She was like, no, I'm being serious. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. But, I thought it was really clever. And I thought that people would, they grab a whole other audience from Aquaman to watch their trailer. And I thought that was really funny, really clever. It kind of felt like something that Marvel would do for a Deadpool movie trailer.
Yeah, and, a lot of folks are seemingly suggesting that Shazam is that kind of humor, and I'm like, no, it's not. This is actually more family friendly.
That's right. Well, and he doesn't break the fourth wall.
Yeah, right.
So, none of his humor is the same. Billy Batson's like more of an innocent, childlike humor. So it's kind of like the movie Big with Tom Hanks.
Right.
It's kind of more that kind of humor. Except for, you switch a regular adult with Superman. You know, that's a
Well, and he dances that little floss dance instead of on the giant keyboard.
Right. I thought that was pretty appropriate for our time.
No, see, because it makes it so anachronistic 10 years down the road when people are like, what the heck kind of dance is that?
When we have a new rebooted Shazam, anyways.
Nah, that's true.
I mean, yeah, so 10 years ago we had a different Batman, too, so.
Yeah, he was pretty good, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Whatever came of that guy?
Anyways.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I guess it's about 10 years since Dark Knight came out, right?
I don't know. I was kind of just guessing. But,
maybe longer. I don't know.
Yeah. I just saw for the first time the Shazam trailer with where he throws the Batman doll, which is hilarious. He's like, get him, Batman. It made me LOL.
Whoa.
Oh, man. So, yeah. But, couple other things, some books that I've been reading. Books of Magic. Love this series.
Nice.
It's been really good. What else we got here? Teen Titans has been great. Really enjoyed this series. I think it's really good fleshing out with Damian because you know he actually has an actual storyline, which is awesome. So I know, right?
Crazy that not just being Batman's son will make you popular, but actually having a storyline.
Right.
I wish comics would get behind that idea.
Yeah. But another one we got that I was reading, Fantastic Four. I just almost caught up. I think that I haven't read the one that came out this week.
Hey, you got the same cover I got.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah.
So, and then one of my favorites going on, Freedom Fighters. Awesome.
Issue 3 or 4?
This is 4.
Nice.
Uncle Sam comes back. It's great. It's great. Really like it.
I might have to borrow those at some point.
Alright. And then, probably the most controversial, Heroes in Crisis, number 7. So, that one's interesting. I'll probably do I might do a full review. I don't know. Have you looked into that one already? I don't know.
Yeah.
If we talked about it.
Yeah, we did briefly.
But,
I think we talked about it briefly before the Captain Marvel video on Friday.
yeah.
Yeah. Because that's the comic that was supposed to have Ivy dead on the cover or something. And, yeah. So that's not a spoiler because there was a whole big news article about it like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, news and notables for me that I'm reading. Fantastic Four. This is number 8, I believe. Yep. Dr. Doom has got the Galactus. And the Fantastic Four all up in Latveria. Which one's the real country?
Man, our streaming is really awful today.
All right.
This is really jumpy.
Yeah. So anyway, Doom's country is being invaded by Galactus and the Fantastic Four. He's captured the Fantastic Four and is going to execute them live for everyone to see. So it's good stuff. I'm enjoying it. I'd like to see where it's going. And we got War of the Realms on the horizon. So we'll see how impactful that is for the story. But number 9 for this issue or this series has already been pushed back, so I don't know how that's going to turn out. The other thing I've been reading is this Spider-Man team-up book. It's Marvel. It's sort of like a kid's version of stuff. It's kind of old, but I got it off of a used book site for super cheap. But I mean, it was only $8 to begin with, and it's like 6 different team up stories. And what it is they've taken old stories like Amazing Spider-Man #1, where he teams up with the Fantastic Four against the Chameleon, and sort of updated them, modernized them, and it's really fun. And there's a great story where he teams up with Thor, and they're talking about TV, and Thor's like, "Mine favorite relates the antics of the short yellow man who lives under the sea. Robert, the sponge with the straight trousers." And it took me a minute to catch on to what he was talking about, but he's talking about SpongeBob, short for Robert, so SpongeBob SquarePants. And I was like, that's too funny. So yeah, he teams up with the Fantastic Four, Thor, Storm of the X-Men, Kitty Pryde, and Captain America. Good stories. So something I was buying for my kid, and I just wanted to sorry. And I wanted to check out and make sure it was okay. I just wanted something to read. It is for my son, but
yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry, I kind of tuned out for a second.
No, you're good. I
think one of the problems we were having with the stream was that my phone was using the internet as well. And I'm upstairs away from my
router,
so yeah, that could be. I mean, it could be my awful computer. So if you're watching, sorry for the quality. We're trying.
Hey, we throw the technical difficulties in at no extra cost.
Oh man, but it looks like it's somewhat smoother.
Good.
Smoother. That's nice, but yeah, man. Shazam's coming out this weekend, so that's awesome.
I know.
I am excited.
Sorry. Abita was getting some exercise in.
There you go. Well, he's more centered now.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Oh, man.
So, yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I think this is going to be an amazing movie.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's going to be what we wished Superman would be. Not story-wise, obviously, but just like a positive, upbeat story.
Right.
Actually hopeful.
Yeah, that'd be nice, right?
Yeah. I mean, Aquaman had some of that, but still had some, despite all the colors and stuff, still had some grime to it, which wasn't a problem because it worked really well in that movie. But I mean, I think you've said it before, and I think it bears repeating that DC, their characters are beacons of hope.
Right.
There is a sense in which they're above the norm.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean that they have powers. I mean that they are sort of like these, I don't know. Well, help me out here because I'm drawing a blank as to the wording. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not as fallible in some instances as the Marvel's heroes are. Say that again?
I was saying what you were saying.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Marvel or DC kind of has the more idealistic characters.
There you go. Yeah, idealistic.
Although it's hard to get more what's the word? Flawed than Batman, so
well, right, and we'll talk about that as we get in.
But he never really he didn't start off that way.
Right.
So he used to be a gun-toting.
Why you gotta bring up some old stuff?
I would have laughed if they had done like that cover. That would have been funny.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But yeah.
I mean, at the very least, he could have been shooting out a tire, right? I mean, it would still drive the point across.
So.
But anyways, Shazam will be a good movie, I think.
Yeah, and Avengers is right around the corner too.
I know, it's crazy.
Too many really good movies so close.
I know, we got to figure out how to work all that.
I'm going to see another movie.
Do it?
I'm complaining, but it's so good.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
Oh, man.
Can't believe we got to go watch this movie, too.
I know. There's so many good movies. I got to go watch them all now. Have
you found a good theater up there?
I haven't. I hadn't looked.
Okay. Is there one in town, or do you have to go like
it's about
30 minutes?
15 minutes away.
Okay, so like from my house to the theater here.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. That's not terrible.
So.
Not ideal, but not terrible.
Oh, yeah, we've got a couple more people. Welcome. Sorry for the jumpy video. Something's going wrong. My computer says it's great. I don't know what's happening tonight, but we appreciate you coming on. Feel free to leave a chat. We're going to be talking about Detective Comics here in just a minute. We're going through our news and notables right now. So, yeah. Now, this isn't really comic books, but we had PewDiePie put out a video yesterday that kind of broke the YouTubes.
Is that right?
Yeah. He used to be #1, but he dropped down, and he put out a video yesterday where he I don't know how much you know, Lewis, about the
I don't, but I think I saw something on the internet about it.
There's a company in India that's the Bollywood. They do all the license for the music and stuff, and they've been right behind him. They're like at both of them are like 93 million subscribers.
Jeez.
Crazy. And they finally passed him a couple of days ago. And they were like 100,000 above him until he dropped this video where he actually lists out some of the sketchy things they've been doing and have done in the past. And
the Bollywood company?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. And now he's back in the lead, and he's got like 100,000 over them. So,
wow.
It's pretty crazy. I did a video a little bit ago about that. So you can go check that out. Not really one that talks a whole lot about the news around YouTube, but that's kind of a big deal on YouTube. So, but anywho, I don't know if there's anything else really.
Yeah, I can't think of anything either. So,
Heroes in Crisis. I guess we could talk a little bit about that. Just kind of a mess.
Isn't it
just like the last issue. Like there were parts like I liked some of the Wally West confession scenes that he had. I don't know if you read it, but
I have not. But I feel like
about it, I'm sure.
I feel like that's been the best part of the book is like the confession stuff.
Yeah.
Heroes in Crisis, not this particular issue per se, but just the series in general, and yet that's not the focus of the book.
Yeah, and like nothing else makes sense in the book. It's like I kind of laughed at Batman and the Barry Allen's exchange.
Oh right, yeah, that was pretty funny.
But that was about it. And like anytime Wally West shows up, I'm enjoying him. Although I was watching somebody, I think it was I guess he's formerly known as Diversity in Comics now. Comic Matters with your boy Zach is what his channel's called now. I'm like, really?
Well, this is Superhero Chat with your boy Jay and
Jay and Louie.
Yeah, that's right.
But he was like, he's like, I never thought I'd be on the same page as Mark Waid, but it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Oh, I didn't know Mark Waid had said anything.
He didn't. He was just saying that that Tom King has destroyed the Wally West that Mark Waid set up so beautifully.
Oh, okay. Okay. So at least he recognizes the awesomeness that is the Mark Waid Flash run. Okay.
Right. So, but yeah. So I was watching that, and I'm like, I don't know that I'd go that far, but yeah. I feel like it's not that he's destroyed the character per se. He's just destroying the character, if that makes sense. So, like, he hasn't changed the personality, I don't think. I thought he went a little too far with that. But as far as, like, destroying the character, it seems like that's what he's doing. He's just, like, lighting it on fire and watching it go.
Right.
And because some of what he does doesn't even make sense. Like, how would he bring Poison Ivy back to life? That doesn't make sense.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I guess I should do that too. I'm not good with that.
Anyway, I'll just say this. Most of the reviews that I've read that like Tom King suggest that Tom King works better in a collected edition rather than a monthly.
Yeah.
And so if that's true, my question is this. Why are we doing this as a monthly?
I don't know.
Like, why don't you just collect the thing and sell it that way, and then we'll just read it if we want to or not,
You know what else hasn't come out? Batman Damned issue 3.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, that got
pushback.
Yes. So well, that Black Label stuff is basically done.
Really?
Yes, they're
they canceled
if
that.
I'm not mistaken, yeah. Because they've had so many issues with it.
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
Batwang and I don't know what happens in 2, but apparently they're going back and making the artist redraw some stuff for the 3rd issue, but that's the last one.
Oh my goodness.
And so like yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. But
I think that was Didio's thing too. Like,
yeah.
Ultimately deciding to do away with that. And if it's not, I'm going to blame him for it anyway because I don't like that guy. even when he writes good comics like that Sideways you like, yeah. I still don't like him.
Yeah. I don't know enough about him. I don't care for what.
Dude, you should just know that in Infinite Crisis, he wanted to kill Nightwing, Wally, and Kyle. That alone is enough for me to not like the guy.
Yeah, well, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I haven't read anything from him saying that, so I don't.
I mean, his whole beef is how can Batman be just about 30 and then have a 20-something-year-old sidekick?
Well, no, and that makes perfect sense, but it's comics.
Right, nobody's studying it that hard, boss.
We have a term called comic booky.
Yeah.
It's comic booky. Just get over it. It's supposed to not really always make sense and be kind of ridiculous and funny. It's the genre of the thing. Anyways, let's get into this review.
Anyway, this is what one of the smartest guys in the DC universe dresses like. So, that ought to tell you something right there. But anyway.
Oh.
Detective 1000.
So, I'm going to reveal my special cover. This isn't it, but I mentioned before that I got the Tomasi or the Gleason cover for Action Comics 1000. Well, right. I've also got the Gleason cover for Detective Comics 1000.
Woo-hoo.
And tell me that's not the best Detective Comics cover right there. That's so much better than all the others. Yeah,
the only one that I think
the 4 Robins.
Yeah, I don't know how you could beat that one. I like the one that has the Batman through the years. I think it's Nicholas Scott or something like that.
Special.
Yeah. It's
the other one I got. So I like the throwback to the old TV show.
And this is the one that I got. This is the only one that had the yellow oval on it. And if you know anything about my fandom with regard to Batman, I'm all about me some yellow oval.
Yeah.
And hey, we'll get to talk about that, won't we?
That's right. All right, let's go through this thing.
Woo! All right. Any order you want to go in, or just straight through?
I say straight through.
Sounds good.
All right, so the first one, we've got a story, and we can't show too much. Well, not that we make any money off this anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But I don't want any legal trouble, so we can't really show any or too much of it. But the first one's called The Longest Case. It's Scott Snyder. And I like a lot of Scott Snyder stuff.
I don't.
I think
this was okay though.
Just from like the Justice League run that's still currently going, I think.
Yep.
And there was a couple other things he did. It just kind of felt like he was trying to be too meta, trying to be too big, and it kind of lost the interestingness of the story itself. Somebody else is on. Welcome. We're going through Detective Comics 1000. And sorry about the video quality. I don't know what's going on tonight. So, anyways.
Yeah, you're frozen for me, dude.
Am I really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's all good. Just keep going. We're good.
I will wait for the hardcover of Detective 1000.
We understand.
Yeah. That's what
it is a beautiful book.
It's a great book. I was just showing. Oh, no, that booster. This is my awesome cover that I special ordered. Pretty excited about it. It's a thing of beauty. So, anywho, so I like some of Scott Snyder's writing. I've liked him in the past. I don't like everything he's done. Oh. But I was okay with this story. So there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this. So if you haven't read Detective Comics and you don't care, or you don't care, that if you haven't read the book and you care about spoilers, don't watch this. But otherwise, we're going to just go through some of these, what we liked, what we didn't like. So spoiler alert. There it is. I said it, Lewis. You happy?
Yes, I am. Or I should go with the Mark Hamill. I've never been happy.
You've never.
That's a Family Guy joke after he uses the Force and it doesn't go quite like he wants it to. Obi-Wan's, or no, I'm sorry. Maybe it's Mark Hamill's like, there, are you happy? He's like, I've never been happy.
But, so the first story, honestly, the first couple of pages didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, so it's rehearsing Batman trying to figure out the clues that were left behind for him.
Sorry, I'm reading comments. You can keep going.
Yeah, so in the first few pages, Batman is on a case, his longest case, where he's trying to figure out these clues, and it all leads him to this group.
Yeah. Hey, Dan's here. Welcome. Glad you could come on. Diaz, I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. Yeah, so this is a celebration. As far as I know, none of these stories have anything tied directly to the stories that have come before. Although there's some things in them, I guess, that it's self-explanatory, if that makes sense. Like all the
serve as launching pad, but you don't have to know anything or have read anything else to truly appreciate it.
Right. All the stories are self-contained. Although the last one that we'll talk about leads into, I think, what's coming next.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So
That's correct.
And that's Tomasi. Let's go. I'm pretty excited about that. Anyways, yeah, so there's usually in a good detective story, you're following with the detective, uncovering things as he uncovers them. Instead, you see Batman look at a bunch of random things that seemingly have no connection with each other, but make sense to him.
Right.
You're just supposed to say, okay, he's following out this path.
Right. He's spelling the clues out for us instead of us being there when the clues pop up or whatever.
And then we get revealed, oh, there's apparently this detective group that has always been there. But is that Elastic Man?
Elongated Man.
Elongated Man? That's him,
yes,
right?
And I hate that costume.
Yeah, he looks really weird in this.
Yeah.
I guess I can show that picture.
Yeah.
So, but I like that the questions there. Detective Chimp is great. Martian Manhunter, you got all the classics. I don't know why Hawk Girl's in here. I guess they.
Okay, so if you look at the top of the next page, it says this place, it's existed for eons, but only has a few members. It has no official name, but we call it the Guild of Detection. So because Hawkman and Hawkgirl have the reincarnation history thing, they've been around long enough to finally start figuring clues out or something, I guess.
Fair enough.
That is the only reason I would suggest that they're there.
Right.
I mean, archaeology, I guess, is detection of a sort.
Right, and that's kind of what I thought for Hawkman in some of his lives. Although I don't know about... I didn't know that she was really into the detective stuff. So, but I assumed that it had something similar connected. Although I'm not sure that half of these people would figure this out before Batman would. So
right, that was my biggest beef with this issue, is that he would have already figured it out.
Right.
So
I mean, I think it's cool that some of these others. And where's Tim Drake? Because he's smarter than some of these guys.
Maybe this is earlier in Batman's career.
That's fair. Or it could just be that Tim is
not old enough.
Not really old enough to have started looking into stuff like that. Diaz says one of the detective is the true detective or the original detective of Detective Comics #1.
Right, Slam Bradley. Yep.
Is that one of those guys?
That's the guy in the middle who says, "Welcome to the Guild."
Oh, okay. I mean, I didn't know who that was.
Yeah, no, I mentioned him in our detective video a while back as an honorable mention.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got to say about that. It was kind of lame. I thought it would set up something maybe interesting in the future, but...
Well, and they may, because Scott Snyder has gone on record saying that he'd like to do something with this, like build from it. Here's my only beef with the story, really, because it's fine for what it is to introduce the group, but Hawkgirl uses Batman's real name in front of Slam Bradley, who
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, she says, "I know it's a lot, Bruce, but he's wearing the mask."
Yeah.
And Slam Bradley introduces himself as, "Hey, I'm Detective Slam Bradley, Batman," and it's anything, but you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, okay, you guys are gonna act like, like Hawkman is a little more easily recognized as Carter.
Right.
So when Batman calls him Carter, it's not that strange.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Although I guess they're saying like they're all supposed to be detectives, so maybe they figured it out. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's still a stretch.
Yeah, that one's a little harder to eat or swallow or whatever you want to say.
I'd be curious if the Question knows who Batman is. So
that's fair. That's fair.
I wouldn't know. Yeah, it was a cool nod. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyways, so that wasn't really my favorite, but it was all right. And again, my biggest problem was I just didn't feel connected to the story at all because he didn't involve the reader in the actions of the investigation.
Right.
So
you were told rather than allowed to come along.
Right. So the second story, I'm trying to remember who wrote it. Kevin Smith. Man, that story is excellent. So it's called Manufacture for Use. And the whole time you're seeing these two plot lines going on at the same time. So you have the one where Batman's basically fighting a bunch of random people in different scenes. And each time, like, he's noticeably getting hit right in his chest where his yellow emblem is. But this other seemingly random story going on is this guy who you later find out is Bruce Wayne.
He's going by Matches Malone, though. That's his street name.
Right. And he's talking to this underground dealer, and he buys a seemingly random gun, which you find out later is the gun that killed Bruce's parents. And I love this. As soon as I read it, I'll tell you the story before that. So Bruce Wayne takes it home. Alfred is saying, hey, like, you shouldn't have this, you can't let this gun, it's just going to destroy you. You can't keep dwelling on these things. And he's like, I'm going to repurpose this, basically. And so he melts it down and then forms it into his symbol and wears it on his chest as extra protection underneath the emblem. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Here's the line that he uses. He says, I'm going to make that metal pay for its sins. I love that. Like, that is just so good. Trust me, dude. Kevin Smith, he did an excellent Green Arrow, and you're going to pick that up at some point. You're going to really appreciate it. I'll just tell you how much. Yeah.
But yeah, as soon as I finished, I was like, dude, Lewis, have you read this? Yeah, because it's awesome. I knew Lewis
it is one of my favorites from here, and it's another reason why I love the Yellow Oval. When I was a kid and I first got into comics, I remember reading, like, Wizard Magazine had these little quizzes, and one of the quizzes is like, why does Batman have the yellow oval? And it's because he wants to draw the gunfire and everything right there. That's the most heavily protected spot on his body, and so if the yellow's there, it draws the attention.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was excellent. And I mean, I grew up on the Keaton Batman, and so for me, this story was just like, it had a little bit of everything. You got a bunch of different rogues encountering Batman. You got
real quick. Diaz says, question, do you recall a detective comic, not necessarily Batman related, in which you feel as a reader you were getting the clues and solving the case at the same time as the protagonist?
Yes. So the DC Challenge is not like a perfect example, but it's a outside of continuity comic. It ran for 12 issues right before or right around the time Crisis on Infinite Earth started back in the 80s. And the point was the writers had to set up clues and stuff for the next writer.
Hey, we got a few more people on. Welcome. Going through Detective Comics 1000. Sorry again about the quality. It's some reason my computer's messing up tonight. Sorry about that, but we're just going through. So I hope you hang on and enjoy. Yeah, sorry, keep going. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so that one is one where you get the clues presented to you, and you got to try and make heads or tails of it before the next writer utilizes it. And then so at the end, writers can go back and sort of say, no, you didn't quite matched the clue. So it's not an exact one-to-one correspondence, but I like that.
He also says Wizard was awesome. Got a couple of the last ones before stop publication.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Oh, I have a whole bin behind me of Wizard magazines that I used to collect. I still have the first one I ever got. I'm pretty sure it was issue number 17. Yeah, it was a great.
I'll tell you one of my favorite comic book. If you haven't been on the channel long, my favorite comic book is a new Teen Titans book issue, and I forget which one it is.
22.
But it's called Who is Donna Troy, and it's the first Who is Donna Troy that comes around. Marv Wolfman, George Perez, and in that issue, you're following Dick Grayson as he is a detective trying to figure out where Donna Troy came from, and it is a beautiful comic. Now, I will clarify between you being able to figure out at the same time as the detective, because we want to say the detectives are usually smarter than us. Like, Batman's a lot smarter than we are, but that doesn't mean we don't see the clues and see the story progress. Whereas in the Scott Snyder story we were just talking about, you see the clues, but there's no context. There's no, like, why did he come here? Where is this from? How did he get here? There's none of that. It's just him finding random things that somehow led him to this detective thing, and that's where it was. But if you watch, I don't know as many comics, but if you watch TV shows about detectives, like one of our favorites is Monk and Psych. You can see all the clues as they're going, and you're learning with them, and they'll pick up things that you don't pick up because they're supposed to. They're smarter, but all the clues are there. And if we were as hypersensitive as they were, we'd see it. But they're laying all these clues, and we figure it out kind of as the story develops with them, and that's the difference. That's the main difference there.
Another good one, Diaz.
He says thanks for the recommendation about DC Challenge.
Yeah, another good one that'll be easier to find. In the upper 80s of Mark Waid's run on the Flash, he did like a 2 or 3 issue trial situation where Wally West was being civilly sued for negligence, I think it was. And there's a villain who's working behind the scenes, but you don't know all about that. But like the way that Mark Waid does it, it's excellent. So check that out. I want to say it's like 88 through 90. But I could be wrong. But it was excellent. It was probably my introduction to Mark Waid's Flash, and it is still one of my favorite stories. I actually just dug it out and read it not too long ago. Also, another storyline in that is the return of Barry Allen storyline. You may appreciate that. So, Barry Allen shows up on Wally West's doorstep at Christmas. You all right there, boss? Anyway, so Barry Allen shows up on Wally West's doorstep, and he's been dead, right? And so there's a mystery involved, which it's old enough now that you could have been spoiled already, but even if you have, it's still worth reading. Because the way that Mark Waid wrote it is just really good. So check those out. Let me please come back and let us know what you think about them. Wally West is one of my favorite characters. We also have our Facebook page, same name, Superhero Chat, where you can message us if you'd like. Because I don't know if we can do that on YouTube or not.
It's a lot easier for us to message over there.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So we said collected issues of Wolfman, Perez, Titans are good. Yeah, you'll notice they're right there if you can see that far back. I've been reading through them, and that's where I found that comic. I actually later bought the single issue. He says he's he'll read that after Perez run. He's doing a retrospective on Perez since he announced his retirement. Yeah. And then he says that's Wade run of Flash, and he's already collected that. So, or maybe he's saying that's already collected in the issues. So,
yeah, most of those have been collected.
But anyways, for time's sake, try to get back to this. Yeah, I love this Tomasi or this Kevin Smith. And Jim Lee drew it, so awesome, really awesome. I like that he draws like the classic Catwoman too, which is awesome. She's got the purple outfit, really like
the dress and everything.
Harley Quinn's in the classic outfit. I really like that. But the next story I didn't really care for. I think Lewis liked it better than I did. I mean, it was okay. I just felt like the artwork wasn't really great.
Okay. So we're gonna try to avoid spoiling the twist, but it's a cute little story that has a nice little twist. It's funny.
It's okay. It was alright.
It's written. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Keep going.
Yeah, it's written by the guy who helped do the Batman cartoon show, Paul Dini. He's one of Harley Quinn's creators, Bruce Timm being the other, and so yeah, it's just a kind of a funny story. So
yeah. It's all right. I didn't care for it. The artwork really got to me.
Okay, tell me. Okay, that's fine. That's fair.
And then Damian Wayne, when he shows up, is nothing like Damian Wayne. Like, it's a completely different character called Damian. Has nothing of his personality.
Tell me though, you didn't like. You can't tell me you didn't like the Joker riding in on an elephant.
I mean, there were some funny things. I liked the elephant and donkey riff that they had. I thought that was funny. I mean, there were aspects of it that I thought was funny. You know, honestly, it reminded me a little bit of the two characters that are in Star Wars that are responsible for all the plot holes of Star Wars. I don't know if you've seen those guys, but there was a mini series that came out for Star Wars a while back, Dark Horse, and it follows these two randos that are stormtroopers, basically, and they're the reason. Like any plot hole that's in any of the original trilogy, they're the ones that are responsible for. In some weird, fantastical way, like they're the stormtroopers that are too busy talking when Obi-Wan is sneaking around the generator in A New Hope, and that's kind of what it reminded me of. I want to collect that series because it's really funny. A premise, I want to read it, but anyways, so it was all right. It was all right. I didn't feel it wasn't my favorite. I did like the look of the Riddler though, because he has his classic look. I'll show it there. I really like that. I don't like the new Riddler. It looks awful.
I love the Riddler part was my favorite, where he's basically replaying the episode of the Batman show, but then Batman goes right after the henchman guy, and Riddler's like, "Wait a second, how did you know the kill code?"
That was funny.
The guy's like, "Well, it looked important, so I memorized it," and Riddler's like, "And you just told him?"
That was funny. I did enjoy that. But the next story I didn't care for. It was a cool fight scene.
Right.
It just fell out of place, I guess.
Yeah, Warren Ellis to me is hit or miss. I thought this was a fine piece. It demonstrates how tactical Batman really is, and how well planned and thought out his war against crime in Gotham is. That he's literally set up this warehouse to help him fight crime.
Yeah.
And so he leads these guys straight there so that he could take them out easier.
So it was all right. It was alright. I mean, he's a planner. Just
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like it's overemphasized, his planning.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't plan for everything. But Batman can, because he's Batman. We're big fans of how it should have ended, and we watched a lot of their videos. So, anyways, the Return to Crime Alley was good.
So good. So good. I was so excited for this story. Oops.
I think it's
stuff down. Ah! That's a creepy first page, but
I thought it was the best in the book for really getting at who the character is.
Yeah.
And talking about the personality of Batman. I thought that was really good. So,
I really
basically what happens is you have Leslie Tompkins, and she's talking to Batman about how he's becoming who he is fighting. He's becoming the evil that he tries to prevent, and then they get mugged while they're talking by these kids, and Batman kind of brutally beats them. And yeah, it's really interesting.
But it's because he only sees the masks.
Right.
He won't look past that because he's trapped in his own mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, Denny O'Neil is an amazing Batman writer, and he does a great job here.
So, really excellent story. The artwork's good too. I really like the how they blend the panels together. Just really fits a lot with the theme of the animated series, even just the way they draw them.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Then we have Heretic.
Yep.
I enjoyed the premise of this more than I enjoyed the actual story.
Yeah.
I thought the premise was really good. Basically, this guy ends up being killed in Gotham, and you find out that he was an ex League of Shadows.
Yeah.
And his brother killed him because he had abandoned the true faith of the League of Shadows. He had abandoned him, and
that looks like a girl, dude.
Is it?
That's what it looked like, but
maybe it's hard to tell. They had a mask on. Was she? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is a girl. The artwork isn't my favorite, and Christopher Priest hasn't always been my favorite either.
Right.
But I enjoyed it. It was good.
Yeah, I like the idea that Batman is willing to help run sort of an underground railroad out of the League of Assassins for folks.
Right. I said Shadows, League of Assassins.
Well, that's what they call it on the cartoons. So I had to flip back to see what they were calling it in the story, because it's pretty much the same thing.
But and then we have a Bendis story. I think this one's Bendis.
Yeah, that's Bendis.
I actually enjoyed this one. Although I felt like the Penguin might have been the wrong villain to use. But
the Penguin was used specifically for the setup at the end, and because he's the most cowardly of all the villains.
Yeah.
Like, if it were Riddler, he would use it for his advantage. The other guys wouldn't be afraid to strike out at him, but...
Fair enough. Fair enough. I just feel like the Penguin probably wouldn't have been the one to figure that out, but...
Well, I agree, but, I mean, I just didn't care for it, to be honest with you.
I enjoyed this one more than I thought I would. I mean, I didn't care for the artwork too much. It was all right, but
yeah, I didn't even see who did the artwork. I don't care for it at all.
I mean, I don't feel like they would have had like a town meeting of supervillains unless they were actually plotting something.
Well, no, it's been established at various points that they have. Well, this group might not have gotten together.
Right.
Because there's an excellent old Batman cartoon where I think it's called Almost Got Him. And so they all sit around and tell how they almost got Batman.
Yeah.
And Killer Croc has this recurring joke. So if you haven't seen it, go watch that because it's one of the best episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy the next one, the Jeff Johns story.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, my problems with this, Damian doesn't look like Damian. Now, I realize he's supposed to be older in this.
Sure.
But the artwork in this just kills me. It just kills me.
Kelly Jones has done good Batman stories. This is not one of those.
And then it's got, like, Batman and Catwoman's daughter.
Yep.
I thought that was supposed to be Huntress.
No, it's some girl named Echo.
Yeah, whatever. And it's weird that she keeps calling him Dad in the middle of... like, I feel like Batman wouldn't let his kids call him Dad in the field. And then Catwoman looks awful in this.
She looks like a man.
She looks like a dude. I'm just going to show this.
Dude looks like a lady. Oh, wait. Lady looks like a dude.
It's terrible. It's terrible. Batman does, I don't know. It just kind of looks weird in that. So I couldn't get past that to really enjoy the story. And then I couldn't care less about the son of the Joker. It was really weird.
Yeah, so without spoiling the end, I like it for the end. I mean, that's it.
Yeah. Jeff Johns has written much better stuff than that, so.
Yeah, and I can agree with that.
I don't know. Don't know what he was doing there. Why would he use, like, that specific Bat family? Like, he could have used the present one for a better story.
Well, it's part of the reveal at the end of the story.
Right, but if you read Tom King's story...
Yes, no, I agree.
A better version.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute. First, we got Tynion. I love this. This is great.
Dude, why isn't this guy writing Batman?
Well, he was writing Detective for a while.
Oh.
And they took him off of it.
I don't know why, because this is excellent.
They gave it to somebody. I don't remember who. And then Tomasi took over because I think it wasn't doing too well.
Yeah. This is excellent.
Well, I feel like Tynion really understands the characters.
Yeah.
I felt that for a while. I mean, he made me kind of be okay with Batwoman, and I don't like Batwoman.
Yeah.
So, like, he did really well
with the guy with the star eyes. Where he's getting knocked out, and he's got stars in his eyes. And it says,
okay, I see that, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great little bit.
That's funny. Yeah, I really enjoyed this story. Basically, if you haven't read it, it's Alfred and Batman talking about Dick Grayson as a kid, fresh out of his parents' death, and just new to the Robin scene, and they're discussing Dick's future. So it's pretty great. It's pretty great. I love the speech by Alfred, and he talks about him having friendship, and it shows him with the Teen Titans, and it's got romance. It's got him and Starfire. It's great. I mean, I'm like hitting me in the feels right there.
I love that the title of the story is called The Precedent.
Yeah.
And so the reason that Dick can become Robin is because Batman has already set the precedent. And I love what he says right here at the end. He says, "So let's show them how to do it right." And Bruce's response is, "Okay." And then you have this beautiful page that shows them running off together at the top, and at the bottom, Dick Grayson swearing in and taking the oath to be Batman's.
Yeah, too good.
Side.
I really enjoyed the next one, Tom King.
Yeah, that was really good too. Like, really didn't expect to like this one.
There were a couple things that bothered me about it. Like, I didn't care for the way Barbara Gordon was written. She's complaining about having dated Dick Grayson before. Like,
yeah,
those two are really close friends. Like, I don't think she would have complained about that in front of everybody.
Well, once you get to the end, you kind of understand a little bit more why she does it.
Well, and I thought that was funny, the way he said, "I was Batman."
Right.
I love all the little conversations that go on there.
Yeah, that was the best part.
Like you've got Dick and Damian. They're complaining. I thought it was weird that was it. I assume Damian who was calling him the 12th greatest detective. That sounds like such a Damian insult. You're like the 12th. And I think that he was saying the dog was a better detective than Dick Grayson, which is ridiculous. I mean, Dick's a fairly good detective, but he's probably better than most of the Bat family, other than Tim.
Yeah, I guess it's Damian because he calls him Richard, and the only other person who does that is Alfred.
Right. Well, I like, and the others called them Dick, so, you know. Right. At first I was like, oh, man, they're going this route again, more Richard. But then I was like, oh, it's just Damian. It's Damian. I'll give it a pass. And I love the Jason Todd, like, am I getting kicked out of the family? But my favorite, because I'm biased, is Tim and Stephanie, and she's talking about making out, and he's like, no. That was so funny.
Maybe.
So funny. Maybe, okay, maybe. But I also like the Huntress and Orphan dialogue. All they do is talk, but you don't talk. I like it. That was fun. I didn't understand. My biggest complaint: there is no reason for Catwoman, Batwoman, and Huntress to be in this. No reason at all.
Tom King. That's why.
Yeah. I mean, I can kind of understand Batwoman, but why would he invite a villain? And what does Huntress have to do with Batman anymore? Nothing. Like, I know she has her origins in the Bat family, but she's not that close to the Bat family anymore. Hasn't been for a long time. Like, when you have a Bat meeting, it's the Robins and the Batgirls, basically. That's it.
Right.
Robins and Batgirls. That's the family. I can understand Batwoman, but why would anybody else? And now we have the Signal, so, I mean, he's kind of, you know, an honorary member too. So I understood him fine. But Huntress, they've moved her more toward the Green Arrow side because she shoots with a bow and arrow.
But you have to accept...
And more in Dick Grayson's world than Batman's.
Right. But she has all that history being the Earth 2 daughter of Batman and Catwoman. And then when she moved over and became the daughter of a mobster or whatever, she was still affiliated with them.
So, like, she's in the greater Bat family, but I don't think she's in the close Bat family. If that makes sense.
But it feels like they went and got everybody for this.
Yeah, again, Catwoman shouldn't be in here at all. She's a villain. She's a villain. That was my biggest complaint. I do like the original suit for Batgirl, and yeah, it looks great otherwise. Here's the big splash page. The only other problem with this splash page is the crease in the middle cuts off.
Right.
Cut off Catwoman or something. They did in the next one. We've got a bunch of splash pages. This is beautiful. This is a splash page right here. I love that one. Then we got a couple other splash pages. And just kind of to wrap it up, the last one is Tomasi. I actually didn't care for this story. It's too much talking and not enough, like... So the whole thing is the bad guy at the end, which we won't spoil. He's... they've
already shown the last page, though. Like, folks can find that online.
Well, they could find it by reading the book, too, so...
All right.
So go read the book and you'll find out. But yeah, so I just wasn't as impressed. It's basically dialogue over a bunch of splash pages, which splash pages look cool, look pretty awesome.
I love the Ra's al Ghul one. That's probably my favorite in there.
But the dialogue to me wasn't that interesting. Barely had any connection to what was going on in the thing. I mean, he kind of tried to tailor make it for each villain, but I just didn't feel like it worked, in my opinion. I'm sure somebody else, and I love Tomasi, so I'm kind of saddened by that. But
yeah,
you know,
I thought it was fine. It served its purpose. I was really hoping that there'd be something more like the through the years
with Superman.
Like the Superman one.
That would have been awesome.
Which is what I thought we were going to get there. And we get a little bit of that, but ultimately it all serves to set up the story that he's about to tell in Detective starting in 1001. And
I mean, the last page, I enjoyed the last page.
Yeah.
But it's all the pages leading up to that really were just excess.
Right.
Made zero sense for us, any kind of storyline. So that's our thoughts, unless you have more.
So what would you rate it out of 10?
Man, I don't want to rank the whole thing. I'll rank individual stories, though. There were a few of them that were really good.
Well, just tell me your top 2 stories, and we'll do that then.
My favorites were, I had the 3.
Okay, that's fine.
Were the one with the symbol.
Yep.
The Precedents from Tinian.
Right.
And so Kevin Smith, Tinian, and Tom King. Those were my favorites. Those 3.
Yeah, mine would be my favorite of it is the Manufacture for Use with the oval.
I figured it would be.
I mean, that's
just hard not to like.
Yeah, well, it's just such a great story. And then I like the Crime Alley one because it really makes Batman sort of look into himself and see. I am doing something good by stopping criminals, but is that all I'm here to do is knock them around, or is there another way?
Right.
See past the mask, because I don't know, for someone who's really into literature and character study and that sort of thing, it just works really well. Yeah. And then my third is The Precedent. I'm a big Dick Grayson fan, and just the way that they characterize him, even as a child, you're just like, I'd read about that guy.
So, yeah, I really like that. They got a lot of good moments in there. So,
I would say, comparing it with Action Comics, I don't know which I'd prefer. Because there's a part of me that, I mean, like the Gleasons and Tomasi story in that was something special, I think.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Toss up, I guess.
I'd have to go back and read the Action Comics. It's been a year since I read it.
True that.
So, I liked the chaos of the one where he's flying through time. That was fun.
Yeah, that's the story I'm talking about. I love that story so very much.
Yeah.
It does in, I think it's like 8 or 12 pages, what whole books with 100 pages can't do sometimes.
Right.
Which, I mean, like, there's one page that shows the Fortress of Solitude, and it has the Kryptonian criminals from the cartoon show in the 90s. And so just that, because you remember the Crystal Fortress of Solitude from Superman 2, and it makes you think Kryptonian criminals, but then they've also got the cartoon version, so you're getting this like juxtaposition of the movies with the cartoon show, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna get all of this in here, and I'm just like, you guys like us, and I like you too, so yes. So
when you flash that,
it really matter.
Yeah. So I really like both of them. I like the covers for Action Comics better. Overall, it was harder for me to choose Action Comics, which one I wanted.
Me too, but not for a good reason.
Not for a good reason.
No, because like the one I wanted to like was, I was hoping the Dan Jurgens one would be great, but it's literally just Clark and Lois standing there, and you're like, nope.
Yeah.
I don't want that. So I ended up getting the Steve Rude cover, which has Superman doing his best Samson impersonation, bringing the house down.
Well, isn't Jim Lee the one who did the main cover for Detective?
Yes.
And that one wasn't that great either.
Huh?
That one wasn't too great either.
Yeah, you know what? My kid would have preferred that one to the one that I got him, which just shows he has a ways to go before his taste improves. Because I got him the Bruce Timm cover like you've got with Joker and Batman and Robin, which is a throwback to what's his name? Robinson is his last name. I forget his first name.
Right.
And I love that cover. That would have been the one I got if I couldn't have gotten the one with the yellow oval.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, for me, there's just something about that look that really screams Batman.
Yeah.
And it's probably because the bulk of my comic book reading was during the time where he rocked that symbol, you know.
Right.
So.
Well, and for Action, I really enjoyed the what's it called? Several of them, like the 40s and 30s one was really awesome. Both of those, because one was during wartime, that was 40s, and then 30s was him like busting out of the rock.
That's the one I got.
And then I liked the one from the 2000s. That's the one that I got.
I hate that one. It's something about the coloring I don't like on that one.
I liked part of Dan Jurgens' cover with the Lois, but I felt like there was something missing to it. Like it was just, it was okay. I liked the draw. It looked really good. I just felt like it was missing something in there.
Right. That's the thing. Like maybe he did another cover for somebody else, but I mean it's Dan Jurgens. He captured, the death of Superman so vividly when that happened that when you think of him drawing, a special anniversary cover like Action 1000, you want more than just Lois and Clark standing there getting shot at. Like you get that even in that cover, he's sort of like encapsulating the 90s.
Right.
With the TV show and what was going on in the comics and stuff like that. But you're right. It needed just a little bit something extra to push it over the top.
And I like the 60s one, which is the other one I got.
That's the one with
the aliens.
Yes.
That
where
was
they're
fun.
all shooting.
That one was fun. And, of course, the other one I got was Gleason, which I got recently, and I love that one.
For $5.
Gleason, man, he's great. He's great. So
if you guys haven't gotten Action 1000, most of your comic stores are going to get it soon at a discounted rate. So check and see if you haven't already gotten a copy, if you can't find a cheap copy to read through. That one's worth reading as well, alongside Detective 1000. And not many comics get to the 1000th issue. So
an Action should be pretty cheap by now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just read like a month ago that comic shops are going to have an option to order extra copies at an additional discount
right.
of that, because DC is liquidating their stockpile of that particular issue.
Yeah.
So I felt like I told you that if I didn't, it was on my to-do list. So I know there was one cover you were looking for in that series, so might be able to find it.
I don't remember, but
the 70s, I think, right? It had like Lex and the Legion and Supergirl.
Oh yeah, I really liked that cover.
So
I really liked that cover. So, and I wanted to get the 60s from Batman too, which had all the different Batman versions.
Yeah,
that one was cool. I thought it would go well with my Alien one. So
the only other Batman one that I liked, other than the Bruce Timm, as far as like the normal covers, because there were some really awesome variants throughout. I like the one where he's beating up the KKK. Because I just thought that was great.
Yeah.
Anytime you beat up the KKK or Nazis or whatever on the cover of a comic, it's worth it.
So I really didn't like most of the detective covers. I was just like, really, this is the best you got? Like, I've seen better covers on like Hawkman and
well, come on, that new Hawkman series has some really beautiful covers.
Supergirl's had great ones. I was like, I really wanted a George Perez cover. Like, if he would do something on either.
And I wish DC could have gotten John Byrne to come back. Everyone would have bought that one.
But anyways, well, that's what we got today, guys. We appreciate you watching, even through the technical difficulties today.
Again, we throw those in, no extra cost to you.
If you haven't already, go grab Detective Comics 1000 because it's awesome. It's a really great issue. And it's got some really great stories in it. The artwork on a lot of them is just amazing. So can't highly recommend it enough. But there's some really great twists in there, development of the character, and we can really see where the future of the character is going to go. Characters. So pretty cool stuff going in there. We appreciate you watching, subscribing, and liking. So keep doing that. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. We'd love for you to join the family. Go ahead and leave us a like if you enjoyed the video, and we will catch you next time.
Same bad channel, same bad time. Or maybe not. Monday definitely, but we'll see about timing.
Same Booster and Beetle time.